You ever get the feeling you've misunderstood yourself so deeply that your entire life is just one long argument with the wrong version of you? No, seriously. What if the thing holding you back from clarity, confidence, and actual peace wasn't your past, your job, your ex, or even your current mental clutter, but a simple misreading of the self? And what if fixing it didn't require therapy, vision boards, or a personality test, but instead, just the right understanding? Today, we're diving straight into undoubtedly the biggest hurdle in Zen, and by extension to a joy of living, the misreading of the self. Because here's the kicker. Until your sense of self is properly reconciled, no teacher, no technique, no amount of sitting will land where it needs to. So what is the proper reading of the self? To answer that, we're bringing in two heavy hitters, the Buddha and the Zen master Joshu Sasaki. First up, the Buddha's second discourse called the Anattalakkana Sutta, or the characteristics of not-self. A short but ferociously deep piece where the Buddha lays out exactly what not to cling to as me or mine. But before that, let's do a quick warm-up. Meet the 5 aggregates, the 5-part formula for what makes you, you, or at least what seems to. So we've got form, your physical body, housing all of your senses. Consciousness, what lights up when you see, hear, smell, or think. Perception, how you package all that sensory input. Feeling, how you emotionally react to those interpretations, to those perceptions. And volition, what you actually choose to do about your feelings, what you choose to do in any given moment. And it's these 5 constituent parts, form, consciousness, perception, feelings, and volition, that build up to what seems like a solid person. But don't get too cozy, because now Sasaki walks in, turns up the lights, and whispers, "This thing you call self is not a thing, is not an object." According to Sasaki's teaching, the self is an activity, an arising, splitting, and vanishing dance of opposing activities, namely the I am and the I am not. He called the net result of these 2 activities the I am self. And these activities arise from what he calls the zero self, a kind of potential, not unlike the conditions needed for a fire before it ignites. No oxygen, no logs, no fire. No zero self, no I am self. So here's the twist. The I am self is just a momentary manifestation, one that inevitably arises from the simple reality of the 5 aggregates. That because there is a zero self, because there are the 5 aggregates, there will inevitably be an I am self that arises. But that which we normally think of as the self is not fixed, is not persistent, is not self-sufficient, and is only one aspect of the full you. Which brings us back to the Buddha. In the Anattalakkana Sutta, the Buddha argues that none of the 5 aggregates should be taken as, this is me, this is myself. Why? Because they're impermanent, and so can't be truly commanded, and so can't be the true self. You don't get to say, may my form be like this forever, or may my feelings be like this forever, any more than you get to stop a sneeze mid-flight. In the Sutta, the Buddha dismantles the notion that what we perceive as a self is not the owner of the body, of thoughts, or of any of the 5 aggregates. He then invites us to see the aggregates not as the self, but as something he calls the not-self, what Sasaki would call the zero self. Sasaki, in turn, says, that sense of self, it's just the net result of the ongoing tug-of-war between the activities of I am and I am not. And eventually, they cancel each other out. Back to zero. So here's the challenge. Read the Anattalakkana Sutta, not just once, not just twice, but like your clarity depends on it. Then ask, can I identify the 6 sections of the Sutta? A prologue, 4 logical arguments, and an epilogue. Additionally, can I reconcile the difference between the Buddha's saying, this is not self, and this is not self? Next, what's the deeper game behind the ability, or inability, to compel your form to be this or not that? And last, how does the Buddha speaking of this is mine versus this is not mine map to Sasaki's teaching of zero? Because until you get the sense of self right, everything else in Buddhism is just a house built on shifting sand. Let's firm up that foundation. And so, the question for the next episode: can we come to really appreciate the Anattalakkana Sutta?